Feininger is the most influential expert in XPS foam extrusion field in the world. By global top R&D team, advanced production technology, sound quality management system, outstanding developing concept, and perfect service, we create a reliable international brand. Feininger. Currently, Feininger bears Freon series and hydro-nitrogen series foaming technology. The green CO2 series foaming technology is especially favored by many customers. We manufacture different models of automatic and semi-automatic extruding machines with the capacity from 280 kilograms per hour to 1,000 kilograms per hour, the performances of which are appreciated by domestic and foreign customers. Combining with the high efficiency of mixing feature of double screw, automatic extruding machine has the advanced intelligent control system with many advantages such as automatic and stable feeding, accurate weightlessness measurement, energy saving, environment-friendly automatic constant temperature, accurate counting and stacking, prompt and accurate cutting. In addition, we also welcome you to choose our parallel decorative line equipment and other XPS auxiliary equipment. Because of our energy-saving and innovation concept, Feininger's XPS extruding equipment has been recognized and supported worldwide. Feininger has been appointed as demonstration enterprise of phasing out HCFC project by UNDP, Multilateral Fund Executive Committee, and Chinese Ministry of Environmental Protection. With her far-seeing, long-term international developing strategy, Feininger aims to serve all mankind with her advanced and energy-saving XPS extruding machines. We sincerely invite friends of all trade to join us and develop together.
Hello everyone, I'm Sophie. Welcome to our live show. Just now from the video you already find our company is the first and largest manufacturer of XPS foam board production line. Actually, except XPS foam board production line manufacturing, we also produce XPS foam board every day. If you can come to our factory, you can see there are total 3 XPS production lines running every day. The capacity is more than 1,000 cubic meters per day. Actually, XPS foam, the lifetime is 70 years. It is not like consumer products, but in the XPS production, there is about 10% off-cut. So this is the waste for XPS production. But how to solve this XPS waste? Now I will show you the solution. For the XPS recycling machine, we have several models. I will show you the video of the first model. This video is showed for the recycle XPS board directly. Now, at the top you cannot see, but there is the part like the crush. It can directly crush XPS foam board, and then the crushed pieces to the extruder. For this recycling machine, just one extruder, and then through the small die, like the noodles, this is the stretch type, and through the cooling, the tank, and to the pelletizer, you can get the recycled pellets. Another recycling machine, this is for the powder, because in the XPS production, after the age milling and the service planning and grooving machine, there will be some XPS powder, and you can collect this XPS powder to the silo, or you using the small bag to collect it, and then you can use our another recycling machine. I will show you another video. For this video, you see this is the powder, the yellow one. This is online, we get this powder. And then you can, this powder is to the silo of the primary extruder. For this recycling machine, there are two extruders, the primary one and the secondary one. All this extruder is single screw, not twin screw. And then from the secondary extruder, there is the slot die and the screen exchanger. This is also the noodle type. Actually, now we also have the advanced type. This is underwater pelletizing. For this time, for this shoe, I just show you the common type, the stretch type. And through the pelletizer, we get the recycled PS pellets. You know, for this XPS recycled pellets, you can directly use this recycled material to XPS production to save up our production cost. This is for the XPS foam board, the recycle. And do you know, for XPS production, we can also use another recycled material. This recycled material is from EPS. But EPS is very light. You know, the density, for XPS, the density is about 28 to 45. But for EPS, it's just about 15 or 18. So it is very light. We cannot use just now the two models to get the recycled EPS. For EPS, first we need to compress, to compact the EPS to the solid blocks. EPS is one kind of the insulation material, but the insulation property is not better than XPS. Sometimes EPS is widely used in packaging industry. Actually, I think in our daily life, the EPS packaging box have been seen everywhere. So some customers, they will collect all this EPS foam and then using the compactor machine to get the compressed solid blocks. I will show you the video. You will have a clear see about it. You see, all this EPS, the packaging box, to the compactor. The compactor can convey a large amount of the EPS foam. Then we get this. This is the solid blocks. You know, these solid blocks, the density is how much? This is about 200 kilograms per cubic meters. So if you collect the EPS, it is very light, but the volume is large because it's foam. But we get compressed the compactor. Using the compactor, the density is just about 200 kilograms per cubic meters. So we save up the transportation cost, because some customers, they collect EPS foam and then do the compressed blocks. And then they may sell these EPS solid blocks to XPS factories, because in XPS factory, they have the recycling machine. But just now, I showed the video. On the video, there is no crusher. I will show you another video to solve these EPS solid blocks. You see, this is by using this crusher, there is the EPS solid blocks. And all these solid blocks we use through the crusher, get the crushed pieces. And then the recycling machine is the same. This is the same machine to recycle the EPS. This is the second model, the powder recycling machine. And all this recycled material you can directly use in the XPS production. My company, Fillinger, because we are a plastic manufacturing machine, so we have a clear responsibility to solve this waste to contribute our environment protection. Actually, now if you have XPS factory, I will suggest you to consider about this recycling machine. Or even you don't have this recycling machine, you can just consider about the compactor, because this is a very good business. The compactor, the price is not high. The investment, I think just about $20,000 for the compactor, but you can get a lot of their business. You can collect all this EPS and compress it to sell to XPS factories. I think in your region, there are a lot of their XPS factories. For XPS supplier, the manufacturer, they want the recycled material because sometimes the recycled material is better for foaming than the virgin raw material. Okay, now we will finish the recycle machine. I will introduce another new product. What's this? Obviously, it is a PET bottle, a beverage bottle. Actually, I checked the data in the internet. Every second, more than 16,000 PET bottles are sold worldwide. Just less than 50% are collected for recycling, and only 7% go to make new PET bottles. So all these PET bottles ends up in a landfill or the environment where this plastic takes hundreds of years to decompose. So my company, Finninger, we have a responsibility to play our part in accelerating the transition to an ecosystem. I will show you another sample. This white one, foam. This is not EPS foam. This is PET foam. This foam comes from this beverage bottle because the raw material is the same, called polyethylene terephthalate. And you know, what's the cost for this PET foam? If you are familiar with this foam product, you may know the application for this PET foam is very, very widely. Usually it is used in the wind turbine blades, and the cost is very much about the range. The price range is about $500 to $800 per cubic meter. Yes, the price is very, very expensive. So do you want to invest on this production? I will introduce you the production line about it. For this production line, the production, the very first part is the drying system. I will show you the layout. First, this is the drying. Why we need to the drying system for this PET extrusion? Because for the raw material, polyethylene terephthalate, the moisture is very large. We need to remove the water to get the extrusion. And when we use the fluidized bed to remove the water, the moisture content need to be 50 ppm, except the polyethylene, this raw material. The other additives like the talcum powder and the tachyphyll, also in this raw material there is moisture, so we need to remove the water. And from the drying system of the raw materials, I write the raw materials here. PET, talcum powder, and tachyphyll. So all this raw material will be transported to the feeding system by vacuum loading. For this raw material, polyethylene, you can use the, can you see it? You can use the virgin and also recycled. Usually our customer will choose the recycled material to save up their production cost. Because you know, our company was established in 2002, and we only specialized in polymer chemistry. So So now our production line can support 100% recycled material to make production. So all this raw material will be transported to the top of the plating system by vacuum loading. For this feeding system, this is full automatic. Usually we will supply the 5 feeders. 2 big ones is for the virgin PET and the recycled PET, and the other 3 small ones is for the tactile powder and the tacky filler and another additive. And all these feeders is the loss in weight type. That means you can directly set the feeding value on the touch screen HMI. Now I introduce you the production line. The model is, I write here, 95 by 250. The capacity of this production line is 500 to 600 kilograms per hour. So you can directly set the feeding value. For example, the virgin one PET 200 kg per hour, and the recycled one 250. It is according to your production formula. And the other 3 small additives, the quantity is very, very small. So you can just maybe 3 to 5 kg per hour. That means you can directly set this value, in your touch screen. And then all this raw material will be dosed at the same time to primary extruder. The primary extruder is twin screw. And the screw diameter is 95. The primary extruder, the purpose is to mix and melt the raw material. You know, the temperature here is very high. It's about 208 degrees. Because this is raw material polyethylene, the specification. For XPS, it's just 200 degrees enough. And then here is a screen exchanger. How can I draw it? This is a screen changer, because you already use this recycled raw material. In the recycled material, there's impurity. Sometimes there is the dirty, like the stones or irons. You need to filter all the dirties to protect our extrusion line, for example, the secondary extruder. So after the primary extruder, the screen changer, and then this is a big secondary extruder. The screw is very big. The diameter is about 250 millimeter. So we call this model is 95 by 250. The purpose of the secondary extruder is for cooling. You know, the temperature here is 280, but the temperature of the secondary extruder and the end is just about 240 degrees. So we need to, it needs very sufficient cooling. Usually for the secondary extruder, we also call it cooling extruder. And we have 2 methods for the cooling secondary extruder. The common one is water. And now the advanced one is oil. Now we will suggest our customer to consider under oil cooling, because you know, for the oil cooling, you can cool every side the raw material, get the very average temperature. For example, this is a screw. Here is the raw material. You can control the raw material here is 240 and here it's 239, here 240. So the temperature is very average. But you know, if you use the oil to cool the extruder, how can we cool the oil? Because the oil is very hot, how can we cool the oil? So whether you choose the water or oil cooling for the secondary extruder, you still need to build the cooling water system. This is outside the cooling water system. I mean, this is outside of the production line. You may buy the chiller or build the cooling pool with the cooling tower. All this cooling water is to cool the oil in the temperature controller by heat exchanger. So this is the extrusion system for the polyethylene production line. And after the secondary extruder, there is a static mixer. The static mixer, their function is also for mix the raw material again, and also to mix the temperature in radial direction. Let's move to the primary extruder again. Here, this is for the gas, for the blowing agent injection to our primary extruder. For the PET foam production, the foaming gases is CO2 plus cyclopentane. You know, CO2 is very difficult to control, but for our company, this is no problem. About maybe 15 years ago, we already developed our CO2 technology. As my colleague already introduced to you, we not only have the factory to make the production, to make the manufacturing, we also have the institute, the research institute. We have the global development team to develop the foaming technology. So for CO2, this is okay for us. And for the cyclopentane, actually for this product, the cyclopentane, just about 10%. And we also can support 100% CO2 as foaming gas, but it depends on your market. It depends on the extruded PET foam specification. Okay, let's finish the flow agent system. After the static mixer, there is the die. The die is depends on which wise of extruded PET foam you choose. In the market, the extruded PET foam have two common wise. The first one is 610, and the second one is 1005. First of this wise is for wind turbine blades. So we have two different dies. But all the downstream machines are designed for 1,100 millimeter. So if first you buy the production line with just 610 millimeter slot die, but all the downstream machines are designed for 1,200. And if in the future you buy the big die, you do not need to reform your production line. You know, after the slot die, there is a calibrator and a Hall-off unit. It's just like the downstream machines in XPS production, but there is a little difference for the cooling roller. After the Hall-off unit, there is a cooling roller. In XPS foam production, the cooling roller just a roller without the cooling fans. But for the extruded PET foam production, their cooling roller, the length is very long. It's about 48 meters. And all these 48 meters, these cooling rollers with the cooling fans. And the top and the bottom of the cooling roller, they are installed the cooling fans. So why? Because if you can come to the production site, you may touch the extruded PET foam, the surface. It is very hot. As I mentioned before, and the end of the secondary extruder, the temperature is about 240. So you can imagine the temperature is very high. If I say the temperature is 240, you don't want to touch the surface. Actually, the surface, the temperature is about 80 degrees, I think, maybe. But in the core of the extruded PET foam, it is very high. So after the cooling rollers, I write here, this is a cooling roller, 48 meters. You know how long it takes one piece board to go in through this cooling roller? The capacity now I write here, this is 500 to 600 kilograms per hour. But do you know the output? The output is just about 80 to 140 cubic meters per day, per 24 hours. So why the output is very low? Because you know the density. The extruded PET foam, the density is very high. The density is also about 80 to 150 kilograms per cubic meters. So one day, 24 hours, you just get this data. Why? Because the line speed is very low. It's very slow. The line speed is just 1 meter per minute. Maybe you cannot to imagine how it is slow, but if you can compare to our XPS, the foam production, the line speed is how much? Is about 20, the maximum 20 meter per minute. So for this cooling roller, 48 meters, one extruded PET foam, if going through these cooling rollers, it takes about 48 minutes. And then after the cooling roller, there is the edge milling machine. Here you may see this edge is not flat. It's not like this flat, but it's a little round because it is forming product. And then by going through this edge milling machine, we'll get the flat edge. After the edge milling machine, there is a cross-cutting. The cross-cutting machine. The cutting tool is saw, not blade, because the line speed is very slow. And then through the cross-cutting machine, you get one piece by one piece extruded PET foam. They're installed. What's this? This is the revolving cooling unit. Sometimes I call it cooling elevators because it's step by step. So for the workshop, we will design the cooling rollers, cooling elevators according to your workshop, the height. The standard, the height is about 7 meters. There is about, it can support 180 pieces of extruded PET foam. So how it is equivalent, how long it takes, I mean the time. You know, one extruded PET foam going through these cooling elevators, how long how long does it take? I make the calculation. The time is about 4 hours. I write here 4 hours. So 4 hours, if it is conveyed horizontally, it is equivalent how long? So 4 hours it's 240 minutes, and then the line speed is 1 meter per minute. So we get the answer. If we convey the form horizontally, it is equivalent to 240 meters. That means the driving roller is 240 meters. We can buy and we can sell these driving rollers, but do we have this so long workshop? So that's impossible. So for this revolving cooling unit, this is a must for the extruded PET foam production. And then after this extruded PET foam production, there is a automatic stacker, but this is optional. It depends on you. You can choose or not choose. It's not the must. After the stacker, you may ask, then what we can do? I will tell you. Even with this revolving cooling unit, the core of the PET foam is still hot. So we just put the extruded PET foam one by one for about 24 hours, just one day. This is at least 1 day, and then you will use the service, the planning of the grooving machine to do the surface treatment. This surface treatment machine, this is offline, not online, because we have the limit of the space. So now I already finished the configuration about our production line. If you have any questions, you can send our email or just write your comments here in Cattenfield booth, and our colleague and I will reply you as soon as possible. And now, today is our first day to make our live show here, and we have the activity. Within these 10 days, if you can arrange the down payment to place our order for the production line or for our express foam board, we will give you very, very best price, and also we prepare a lot of the gifts. For example, the Huawei mobile phone. So if you have any inquiry, welcome to call us. My mobile number I write here, 86-151-5067-3161. You can directly call me or leave the message in WhatsApp or in WeChat. And my email, market@Feininger. So my friends, thanks for your time today. And tomorrow we will have the live show in our factory. I will show you our production line in real. So see you tomorrow.